The Lord Almighty grant us a quiet night and a perfect end. Good evening, friends. Welcome back to Wiltshire. It's good to be here, good to be home again. We drove down this morning from North Yorkshire, where we spent the weekend with my in-laws in Knaresborough. And if you saw Going to Ground over the weekend, you'll have seen the films from there and heard about my visit to Ripon yesterday and that amazing tradition of a hornblower in the town square who will be about to sound the night watch shortly there, as they've done every night since the 9th century, over 1,000 years of unbroken tradition, since King Alfred the Great granted them their charter as a city in the 880s AD, and they still have the horn that he gave them. Well, today I've continued to think about Alfred and about that amazing tradition, because it's the day in the church's calendar when we remember Alfred the Great in the Church of England, because not only was he a monarch and a Christian monarch, but he was a saint and a hero of the faith too, founder of the English nation and of our common law as well, the one who arranged the various laws of the kingdoms in their first codified sense, prefacing them with great swathes of scripture and the law of Moses, 10 Commandments and so on, and really setting in place the organisation, particularly of the church nationally, that prefaced its unification as a nation within a century or two. So he's really one of the great parents of our country, and well worth remembering and giving thanks for today. And thinking about that and the sounding of the night watch in Ripon, and of course the clocks changing yesterday, has made me think today about the way in which for centuries the majority of our own history, and still for some cultures and countries around the world, the dark months of the year are so much more dominant than they are for us in our time. And the effect of darkness and of having more darkness in our lives completely conditioned the nature of life and faith and behavior, the way in which we could operate, the things we could do and couldn't do, the stories we told, the nature of law and order, and everything was dominated in the winter months, particularly by this huge long period of without proper light. And it's only really within living memory that we've been able to pop on a light and the darkness disappear. But my mother grew up in the early 30s with gas lights and candles in her house, and so it really is very recently in our history that the darkness hasn't just dominated the autumn and winter months. And I wonder how it makes you feel, the onset of the darkness. Does it affect your mood? And for many of us it does, of course, and brings home all kinds of emotions. For some of us, fears. It's a very significant transition into the darker days, isn't it? And important to therefore turn to the consolation of a faith which, for most of the life of our faith, darkness has been a very powerful feature. And the religious communities over the centuries would rise during the dark nights at different times to pray and remember the Lord watching with them through the night. Communities would have watchmen who would keep the people safe, who would stay awake, who would sound the hours. And it's a theme in the language of Scripture as well. So I just wanted to read a short psalm that mentions the watches of the night, and to use that as a way of reminding ourselves that the Lord is with us as we go into the darker nights and the shorter days, that he is at home in the dark, and with him there is no darkness at all. For the Lord is our light. Psalm 130 then. Out of the deep have I called unto thee, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. O let thine ears consider well the voice of my complaint. If thou, Lord, wilt be extreme to mark what is done amiss, O Lord, who may abide it? For there is mercy with thee, therefore shalt thou be feared. I look for the Lord. My soul doth wait for him. In his word is my trust. My soul fleeth unto the Lord before the morning watch. I say, before the morning watch. O Israel, trust in the Lord, for with the Lord there is mercy, and with him is plenteous redemption, and he shall redeem Israel from all their sins. May the Lord be your light and your salvation this night, and God bless you as you go to ground.